Hey guys, welcome to Anchor Devoted. This is a special announcement that Dave and I are putting together to, obviously you heard yesterday's episode and you weren't expecting another episode today, but hey, surprise, here we are. Why? Because we don't have crystal balls. We don't know the future. So we prepared for a variety of futures. One was whatever did happen yesterday, and one is what didn't happen yesterday. And that's what you're going to hear today. And there's actually a third possibility that you'll hear tomorrow that Dave and I, as we were thinking through being friends, walking through this election process and the cycle, talking to each other about how do we respond, how will we respond, what do we expect. We want to have that conversation and have it loaded and ready to go for you. So without further ado, here is coming part two of our election coverage. We hope you enjoy.
I gather I didn't need to say anything in that.
I mean, that was delightful having you laughing. I'm not even sure I'll cut this out. Let me just dribble this through.
Okay, that was not 5 minutes long. You said 5 minutes. That was like
I said 2 to 3. I wanted to be sure. I wanted to just...
Okay, well, okay, bye-bye. Yeah. Go listen to the rest of the episode. Good morning. Happy today.
It is indeed.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, happy today. It is another day that is taking place, and we are dropping this episode with the assumption that who's president now?
Kamala Harris.
That is
Madam President.
Exactly. History making, humbling, and at the same time, I think challenging.
Okay.
What are the first words that come to your mind? Exactly.
Well, historic is one of them. I mean, for sure. 66th president? I think. My math might be wrong there.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. Sorry.
That's okay. He's not the historian. He's a numbers guy. Yeah, super historic. And I am, as an American, as a father, as a husband, I am really happy to see this historic, benchmark hit. I'm not someone who's like, oh, until this office is filled by a woman, then inequality is going to continue. That's not the way I see it. Like I've said in the previous episode, I am the kind of person who's like, there's nothing here in this office that would exclude a woman from being able to do a really good job. So the chromosomes in the person sitting in the Oval Office is not my main concern. I have a ton of respect for women.
Yeah.
I have a ton of respect for their ability, for their intelligence, for their capacity, for their leadership. I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've benefited from it. That's not an issue from me. I understand from another perspective, and one that you could speak to from your own perspective, that says, hey, because we haven't been in this space, the exclusion is felt and experienced differently. I get that. I can wrap my head around that. I've been there myself in my own way. So it's something that, just because it's historic is worth celebrating. Just because it's historic, and it is, this is a really meaningful step for,
I think it's a huge step.
Half of the population of the U.S., at least just almost definitionally. I think it's something worth celebrating.
I think when you look at the history of America, you see the first Black president. The fact that it was the first is a challenging thing. When you get into a space where it's no longer the first, that is, I think, a good thing.
You mean once that barrier has been broken?
I think once it is, yes, once that barrier has been broken, I think it's a good thing.
It's a good thing to break that barrier.
It's now something that can be part of the story and not the main focus of the story.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree that I don't know if I agree it can become a part of the story. I don't know if I agree that it can become not the main part of the story. don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I've seen that work itself out.
I must say, look at how when you have now first female president and others seek to aim for this office, when you get a second, third, and fourth, it's not, it just is.
True.
And so I'm not saying that there isn't a difference between male and female. I'm just saying that it's no longer driving the story because now it's just she's running for president versus a push to make something happen because it is the first. Does that make sense? No,
that does not make sense to me.
Okay.
Help me understand that a little more, because I'm sure the problem is on my understanding.
No. So when President Obama ran the first time, you saw a large number of African Americans come out to vote. To the point it was, record amounts of people in different communities, and this was on both sides. This wasn't. You had those that were for it and those that were not.
Right.
Once you get to the space where we're at our third or fourth, I think the conversation really becomes about, and not that President Obama didn't have a good platform, but it really just becomes platform versus platform.
Okay. All right. All right. I would say that differently, I think. I would say that it becomes less about the identity and more about the platform.
Okay.
And sort of normalizes that once the color of skin or the sexual reproductive organs are not the main focus, which, to be fair, I don't think that President Harris made as big a deal publicly as she could have about the fact that she is female. I think it was on purpose. I think it was strategic, and I don't blame her.
Yeah.
I think you can sometimes say a whole lot more by not saying something at all.
Right. I think that was on purpose.
I think that's wise. I think she did a really good job there. But once, I agree with you, once you have number 3 or 4 or 5, it's no longer about, hey, look at my reproductive organs, or don't look at my reproductive organs, or
exactly
look at my scan, or don't look at my scan. It's just, here's what I think, and here's what that person thinks, and I think that my idea is better. I do think that's a much better place to get to, and I think that to be able to get there while also having, everybody on the wagon being able to speak to it, not like 13% of the people pushed off the wagon because there's no room for their voice to be even received, I think is a good thing. So yeah, I think that this is a reality that is worth noting. It's one worth celebrating as a country. I think it's a really good opportunity to point to all of the work that's gone into this, the sacrifice, the aspiration, the pushback on ideas that were wrong, actions that were wrong, and to reflect on, the tremendous amount of work that went into growing this thing we call a country to the place where it is today. I think that stands on its own, very similar to the way that it did when JFK became the first non-Protestant president, or when President Obama became the first Black president. I think this stands in that same line.
I'd agree.
That's my first thought. My second thought is, okay, here we go.
What does that mean?
I mean, so I told you back in 2016 when Trump was running, I couldn't vote for him because I didn't know what he actually thought. I have no idea what Kamala actually thinks.
Okay.
She's completely untested, with the exception of her record as a DA, which isn't stellar from where I look. I have no idea what she actually thinks. She was largely silent through most of the Biden administration, which is the job of a VP. It's either say nothing or just go and say whatever the president says. So no fault there. But during the campaign, she gave precious little policy, and the policy that she did give went back on policy things that she had said that she had campaigned on 4 years earlier. So I was having a conversation with someone that I respect, someone very, very dear to me. And this person, I said, I have to take a wait and see because I don't know. I don't know what she actually thinks about this, that, or the other, or what she actually cares about, what her policy concerns are. And this person said, hey, she doesn't care about those things. And I said, I don't know that. I have no idea. I'm not in her heart. I can't read her mind. All I can do is look at what she's said. And this is the same for any politician, what they've said and what they've done. And what she's done out in California, mixed bag. What she said in the previous campaign, pretty opposed to it personally. What she said in this campaign was mostly Donald Trump is horrible and I'm going to make everything happy and joyful, which doesn't.
Do you think that was because of the amount of time, or
I don't think it was the amount of time. No, I think that she was absolutely complicit in putting forward the preposterous idea that Biden was mentally competent to run for a second term. And when the weight of evidence became more than could be hidden by the people that were trying to hide it, which included her, then it opened up a door for a choice that makes sense, but is about the least democratic decision I've ever seen from the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
And what do I mean by that? I'll make it really clear what I mean by that. Here you have a person who ran for president 4 years ago, didn't make it out of the first round of primaries, didn't win a single primary, and since that time has received, until this actual presidential election, not a single vote to get to where she is. That's some really, what's the word you use?
Impressive.
Failing up. And if someone fails up to the highest office in the land in that way and has apparently the full-throated endorsement of the entire political party apparatus that stands behind her or him, there's a reason for that. And since no one's actually willing to say on that side, yeah, we did this because this is what we want, it's just this whole pretense of no, this is absolutely normal. When we're fighting for democracy.
I'm curious, do you think that she was chosen because Trump was easy to win against?
I think she was chosen by Biden because they wanted to have somebody, or somebodies wanted to have her in place because of whatever reason they had. And I can go dark and I can say that reason may be because.
Why wouldn't he just keep running then and step down like in his first 6 months or something?
Same difference. The fact is, his competency has been impaired for long before the campaign started. Everyone around him knew it. So that's a totally separate issue from where I'm looking at it. The question was, why was she chosen? Well, she was chosen because she was in the position. She was in the position because she was chosen 4 years ago. Why was she chosen 4 years ago? Identity politics, party control. I don't know. I'm not inside of it, so I don't think it's as simple as, hey, I think Kamala Harris is going to be the best vice president that I could possibly pick out of this field.
How do you see the church responding in light of it?
In need of wigs.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, after you light your hair on fire, besides the horrible smell that comes with it, you lose all your hair, and then you're walking around looking like you or me, and most people don't look good the way you and I do with a cue ball on. So invest in wigs. Yeah, I think the church is going to demonstrate their wholesale lack of trust in God, their wholesale lack of hope in God's intentional investment, His working in our lives to produce as well. And I think that it's going to demonstrate just how idolatrous we are.
You mean as far as becoming more political?
Or no, I mean in terms of
protesting,
lighting our hair on fire, because We don't have the outcome that we want.
Gotcha.
Because this golden calf isn't the golden calf we wanted. And, there might be a guy on a mountain somewhere getting some words from somebody, but I want a golden calf to lead us. And I
Gotcha.
thought this was it. And I don't have it
Gotcha.
now, so now I'm pissed.
No, that is one of my concerns is that Donald Trump will be looking and leading that golden calf argument down the road
More
because
of
the
an orange
election
calf
didn't
than
go
golden, but
exactly.
copper calf.
And so I am quite concerned as far as
I don't think so. This is where, as far as the future of the Republican Party, I think there's going to have to be I think
a
there's
turning
going to
point.
be a turning point, a realignment. It might be that it lines up behind someone like a Vance, but Trump can't run again. His time's done.
Correct.
He's too far gone.
That is what was said last
that's
time.
A good thing. That's
That was
a really
what was
good
said
thing.
last time, and everyone was surprised at how he, stayed in the mix until the election came around again.
I don't know who was. I didn't hear anyone saying he was too far gone or too old, at least.
I didn't hear too old. I heard that he was gone.
Well, I think I'm using gone in terms of age. He's too old at this point. Mentally, he's not quick enough. He's not sharp enough. He's lost it. 4 years from now, he will be significantly more declined. Like that it's a precipitous drop once it starts going. And yeah, he started going. And the weight of being president for 4 years makes that hurry up, quick, fast, in a hurry. Being 4 years after that decline started, that stress started, I think it shows. And 4 years from now, it's going to be significantly more advanced, and it will make it impossible for him to run a campaign.
Gotcha.
So I don't think that any sane Republican would stand up and say, yeah, this is the guy that we're going to put forward and stand behind. Unless they, said in a very cynical way, well, it's what the Democrats did back in 2020. They elected Biden and he chose Kamala with the idea that he could step down in 6 months and hand it off to someone that the country would never actually elect. So we'll do that, and we'll choose, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm not going to name anyone because
yeah, I'm not asking you to. When you said that the church would pivot, I'm curious, or the Republican Party would turn, most likely. Do you think that is back to its roots, or is this?
I think it's one of
the
two
new
things.
Republican Party.
I think it either turns back to its roots or it splits.
Okay.
I think either it throws off the win at any cost pragmatism and says, no, these are the values that we stand for. This is why we stand for these values, and these values put a limitation on how far we will go. And we got power hungry, and we got excited, and we got angry, and we got zealous, and we said, well, the Democrats haven't been respecting these rules for 25 years, so why should we? And we took that seatbelt off, and what we were actually doing was putting our hand into the fire. And that's stupid. It's stupid for the Democrats to do it. They're able to do it because we won't. If we both do it, it's a mutual destruction pact, and it is not worth it. You can say, whoever it is, choose your party. The adults are back in charge, but the reality is, if you're not willing to hold yourself to your standards, and if your standards aren't to treat everyone with respect, with the same protection that you want to give to your friends, then you're not an adult. And you have no business being in politics. You have no business trying to lead anything.
Do you think we'll shift to a multi-party system? Or?
I don't think so. Not anytime soon. I think there's too much power that's still out on the table, and too much money able to be leveraged to gain control of that power. And keeping it in a two-party system keeps that power very localized. very accessible.
Another question, similar but not. I know there's a ton of lobbying that was taking place with the expectation that Trump would win. I know under Biden there was a lot of fuel subsidies and initiatives that were taken that a lot of his party wasn't happy with. Do you think we'll see some of that Republicrat kind of taking place under?
This is where I'm gonna withhold my opinion because I can't say. I could be cynical and say I don't think that Kamala believes any of the crap that blah blah blah, or I could be unfounded and say she keeps on flip flopping on these issues, but I really think she believes in this, and I'm just going to hold out hope. I'm not. I'm just going to wait and see. I would love to be pleasantly surprised and find out that Kamala is as intelligent as I believe she really is, and looks at these policy things and says, "Hey, these are not as simple as CNN and NBC and Fox would have us believe." Or as the RNC or the DNC would have us believe. These are actually much more complex and much more complicated and much more important than I can simply come in here and say, well, I'm going to executive order my way through this. Or, it's so binary. It's so, if you're not with us, then you're Hitler. Frankly, I think she's a lot smarter than that. And I would love to be very pleasantly surprised and find out that she is, and find out that she's going to piss off people on the far right and the far left. Because, the ideas that they have are mostly stupid. And she's not a mostly stupid person. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I'm praying for. Then that's what I would support.
My last random question for you, I think. I have another one hiding. If an attender at church came to you grieving, how would you counsel them?
What are they grieving over?
Their guy didn't win.
I'd slap him in the head. I'm sorry. I said it out loud. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Is this after they burned their hair? So it's now.
Yes. Where there are remnants of the blisters, I would slap them. Okay. Oh, forgive me, Lord. All right. So I had a family member get married. The year that Al Gore lost the election, 2000, I think it was 2000. And the wedding took place shortly after that election. And we walked into a church in a city for the wedding, and it was a festal celebration of the coming together of two lives to start a new family. But you wouldn't have known it because everything in the place was not just somber, it was morose. It was very clear that the entire church was in grieving over the loss of the election between Bush and Gore, where Bush won. And I thought to myself, I was young, I was 20 years old. I thought to myself, how do you lose focus like this? How do you lose focus and not be able to separate and say, hey, we may have lost this election, might be unhappy with the person who's president for the next 4 years, possibly 8, but life goes on. And I serve a God who's been around a little more than, let me check, a little more than 4 years, possibly even longer than 8. No one's gotten him off the throne yet. He's never been conquered. And he loves me and protects me and takes care of me. Oh, and also, this is a wedding where two people are really happy, and that's why they're starting a life together.
In front of him.
So even if I'm, even if I just lost my parent, I'm here. I'm choosing to enter into the celebration while I'm wearing my black veil because, Gore 2000 didn't win. That's left a pretty familiar taste in my mouth. and it doesn't matter Republican, Democrat, Independent, if you walk into my church and you're putting ashes on your head and tearing your clothes because of whoever lost or won an election, I will put my arm around you and I will say, hey, understand that you're confused, frustrated, hurting. Here's a Bible. You need to go meet God. And I'd love to help you do that. But right now, you think you're a Christian. What you are is an idolater. You bow down in front of an idol, in front of an altar, that you're willing to sacrifice whatever to in order to get what you want. And it's not God.
Mm.
And he's really jealous for you. Oh, by the way, he kicks over altars and idols that get in the way of his people loving and knowing him. So, if you don't want this to happen in 4 years from now, you should probably meet him. And I would not be particularly merciful for much longer than that, being honest. And it would have been the same way if Trump had won. Is it the end of the world as we know it? Well, if it is, number one, I still feel fine. Number two, Jesus is still on the throne. Number three, he wins, I'm going to heaven. And he didn't say, go into all the world and make disciples as long as your guy wins the election. He said, go into the world and make disciples, because people go to hell if you don't. And I'm not going to apologize for coming strong there. We lose the plot. And we go to God and we're like, why did you? And he's like, because you lost the plot. Because I told you what was important. I told you what to focus on. And you thought that you were smarter than that. So this is what happens when you think you're smarter than that. It's not very nice, is it? Maybe don't be stupid. Not sure who that's directed at.
I don't know either, but I think it counts as a landing.
I agree.
This is Anchored and Devoted. And I'm Pastor Joseph, and that's Pastor Jared. We love you. And go live faithfully unto your true Lord and Master. Get in the Word. Share His Word. Be fruitful. Focus on it. Examine your fruit. And love His people. Have a blessed one. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. Please share and share some more. And share some more. Bye.